Well, we had a chance to talk to the man, Russell Wilson, who was all of those things, and it's always fun to talk to him. We got a lot out of it. What I thought was most interesting from him anyway, Bob, was this whole sense of how good he was last year, how he kind of crept up on the league last year, which he did, and really halfway through the season truly got it going. Hadn't been scouted the same way, and now and I know that the amount of time and effort that other defensive coordinators, that other defensive guys have put in scheming against Russell Wilson specifically is off the charts. And we asked him what he's trying to do, and of course he had an answer for us.
Well, he's doing his own self-scouting. He's talking about working on his footwork, and he's talking he's a guy who's remarkably grounded. And
what really strikes you?
He didn't say anything you didn't expect. He's just a guy who's in the film room at all times. He's doing self-scouting. He's talking about his footwork and things like that. And we had talked about what Pete had said at points during the season, earlier in the season, is him trusting his protection. And I think he was kind of alluding to that. The pocket was fine, but sometimes he would run out of the pocket when he didn't really need to. And we talked before about he missed Sidney Rice a few times. Listen, they're not going to find every open receiver every time, but he sort of contributed to that at points early in the season. Second half of the season, completely different story, but that's him, being critical of his own performance and what he can work on. And I also thought it was interesting, just talking to him about, getting all the reps. There is no quarterback competition this year.
Yeah, he acknowledged that too.
Yeah, it was surprisingly, and he talked, how much different it would be without dividing those reps into thirds, the way they did with Matt Flynn and Tavares Jackson during training camp last year. So, yeah, the idea that he's got the offense under his belt, they opened it up in the second half of the season. Now he gets to the full complement of reps in the training camp. It's pretty exciting to think of what the beginning of the season may look like.
It's funny. I think of some of the guys we've talked to about him, and I fall in this category. I honestly don't know how much better he can get. The second half of last year, a quarterback rating over 100 was absolutely, and was big time. His best game, you can argue, and I'd take that argument. I think his best game was the last game of the year he had against Atlanta. He was absolutely off the charts in that game. Threw the ball great, in the pocket, outside the pocket. Wasn't about his running, was about being a field general. Literally, I think for the rest of his career, it's just a cat and mouse thing. Guys are going to try and maybe grab on a tendency if he gives them a little something to do. But how have guys defended Peyton Manning over the years? You really can't. You try and minimize the damage while understanding it's going to be damaging.
Yeah, I guess the best chance for any opposing team is to get him to throw the ball more. The more he throws it, the more chances you as a defense have. You trick him into, you pull a Richard Sherman. You kind of trick him into
bait him into doing something, making a mistake.
You think somebody's open, and boom, you close in on it. He turns the ball over. That's any quarterback who's achieved some level of success is going to say, well, I need to turn the ball over less, and I need to be, completing my passes at a higher. There's always something to improve on, and I would imagine he'll get more efficient and he'll do more damage. He's by no means peaked at any level, and he's already fantastic.
And we got him on the podcast. Make sure you check it out.